what I tell families when they're in my office. This is a great place to live. When you're looking at schools, we're apples, oranges, and bananas. And apples, oranges, and bananas are all good fruit. You just have to know what you want and what you're looking for, because every private school out here, skins the cat a very different way. And so we all, the private schools out in this region are very collaborative. I know all the heads of school, they know me. I'd say, we're kind to each other, and sometimes it'll say, hey, we're not a good fit. We get, those calls a lot. Hey, we're not a fit. We don't have the programs. Can you guys look at this file? So it's a great kind of cohort.
Welcome to the Real TFC podcast, where we educate and give different perspectives on the local real estate market and trends from business owners, professionals, and others as we navigate the ever-changing world of real estate. I'm your host, Chris, and alongside of me here is my co-host, Michelle, as we dive into the twists and turns of the complex real estate world. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I'm doing well, Chris.
That's great. It's a beautiful day.
It is.
Today I wanted to ask you, we've got a lot of people moving around these days, buying homes. What is one of the most important things families look for when buying a home? What would you say that is?
Well, the most important thing is going to be location. They're looking for a location where they're going to have access to shopping. If they're a commuter, they want to be on the major routes.
Yep.
But I think most importantly is they also look at the school systems.
Sure.
And they make that usually their number one priority.
Yeah, this must be a pretty good location because the builders are building a lot of homes, wouldn't you say?
That is true,
Yeah,
yes.
so I think that's got to put a little bit of pressure on the schools. I think we might be a little behind on getting more schools, but nevertheless, this seems to be a great location. And today, our guest is going to probably elaborate on that a little bit because Joanie Hughes, is part of the Eukarya schooling in this area.
Oh, okay.
And the Christian Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's going to elaborate on, the private schooling, because there's all different types of schooling, right? There's homeschooling, public schools, private schools. How do we make that tough decision on, which one to go with?
Right.
And I'm anxious to hear what what her perspective is on that. So let's welcome her to the show.
Okay.
All right, welcome to the show. Joanie Hughes with us here. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, good. Joanie, she is with Eukarya Christian Academy. So am I saying that right?
You are, yeah, Eukarya.
Do a lot of people get that wrong?
They do. We hear Eureka, eucalyptus, all kinds of things. Yeah, it's good.
Eureka, I feel like that would work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Eukarya. Okay, what is? We'll dive into the name in a little bit, but let's before we start that, let's get a little informal. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from, maybe what brought you here, and maybe your role with the school. And
Sure.
Let's talk about that. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm from Montgomery County in Maryland.
Okay, I'm from Maryland too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Carroll County.
Great. Yeah. Super. So I grew up the Rockville area, right outside of DC.
Okay.
And moved around a lot. Moved to Minnesota for college, Tulsa for some schooling, and Africa, and lived in Africa and taught there for a season.
Wow.
Yeah. So we landed back in Leesburg. My husband and I, we have 5 children. We decided when we started having kids, we were going to have one income, and so we kept moving west to find something we could afford. We thought we'd end up in Ohio. But we ended up in Winchester, so yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Ohio, Winchester. So you've been all over. Usually, folks will talk about, I've been, some different parts of Virginia.
Right.
But you're talking about different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Lots of life experiences, I'm sure, that you've seen along the way here. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's get back to the name, Eukarya. Yeah, I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
There's other names, but tell us a little bit about the name. How did it come about? Maybe what it means. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So we are a Christian school, and so Eukarya is a type of cell, and so it's a eukaryotic cell, and it is a cell that has some distinct parts. And so the middle part is a membrane. So it's just, if you kind of picture this with a nucleus in the middle. The nucleus, we tell the students that. That is the Trinity. So the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is our center, is our middle. Yeah. And then the outside of a eukaryotic cell has a protective a protective outer layer, protective membrane, and we tell the kids that's the Word of God that protects us.
Oh,
So
very
it's just
cool
kind
analogy.
of a picture.
That
yeah.
is.
Yeah, wow. You're already much smarter than I am. Yeah, that was a quick science trip down there. No, that's all good stuff, and I love the analogy. I think that's a great message. So, is Eukarya, it's not just a school, right? Is there
Right.
what other aspects of that is offered there?
Yeah,
Wanna
great.
talk about that?
Great question. Sure. So we're actually a larger nonprofit. So Eukarya Family Center is the name of our nonprofit.
Oh, very good.
And we are very. Our mission is to help families in the community. So so from childbirth to college and beyond, we're here to help families. So if you picture a tree, our logo is a large tree. We have lots of different branches. So Eukarya Family Center is the large tree. Some branches off of that are the academy. We have Eukarya King's Cubs, which is downtown in the city for preschool and daycare. So six weeks old until preschool. We have Beacon Hill Christian Counseling, which is down on Girard Street, which is a team of 6 counselors, and we have the Marriage Institute of Winchester. So all of those kind of branches are underneath the Family Center, a larger nonprofit.
Yeah, no, lots of good analogies. And I'm going to back up real quick. What is your role there at Eukarya?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the principal of the academy. I'm also the executive director of the Family Center. So I manage the managers, manage the departments.
So you got your hands full, I'm sure. And what kind of, there's other aspects like, I know homeschooling has always become a big topic lately, especially when we had the pandemic, right? Is that something that, Eukarya incorporates into their schooling?
Yeah, great question. Yeah. So my husband and I, we homeschooled for 10 years.
Wow.
Our
5 kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sheesh.
And so it worked really well with our,
You need
with our
the Lord.
family. Yeah, that's right. Yes. So we do, 4 years ago, we opened up Eukarya Homeschool Academy. And so that's a branch of the 5-day school, the 5-day academy. We have the homeschool offering is Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we partner with homeschool families. They can come and drop off their kids for classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we support those moms or dads who are teaching at home, providing curriculum, providing just teacher support that they might need. So that's our Homeschool Academy program. We also have a Wednesday offering where kids can come and just do enrichment classes. So let's say you have a homeschool family who they don't want to do art or agriculture or, some of the messy stuff that homeschoolers sometimes don't have time to get into, the extras. We do that with students on Wednesdays.
Okay, now if a family wants to start homeschooling and knows absolutely nothing about
Yeah.
it, where would they start?
Yeah.
Would you set them up? You have the materials to
Yeah.
provide?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We tell them how to do it legally, how to, all the things that have to be done, how to do assessments at the end of the year. We're just full support for whatever they need.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of a la carte type of, you'll meet the needs. I'm kind of curious, are you seeing a lot of, or what's the ratio of, homeschooling versus actually coming in? Has that changed?
Yeah. So our homeschool academy, as I said, we're in our 4th year. We started with 8 students. And right now we're at about 56. Next year we're running about 90.
Wow.
So we have wait lists for the Tuesday, Thursday program right now in some of the grades. And then our Wednesday enrichment program is filling up as well. So that's exciting.
Oh, okay. Now, if a parent wanted to homeschool, is there any criteria the parent has to meet as far as education for themselves?
In the
I
state
need
of,
to know this because make sure I
So,
qualify.
right. Yeah, in the state of Virginia, you just need a high school diploma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You clear? You
Clear? Yeah,
Okay,
cleared.
good.
All right, good. Good stuff. That's awesome. All right, so what would you say, sets Eukarya apart, from other schools, and what are some of the biggest needs that that educators are seeing there at Eukarya that you guys are fulfilling?
Yeah, that's great. So I'd say the academy as a whole, there are 3 things that make us really distinct, even from other private schools in the area. The first, obviously, is that we are a larger nonprofit, so we have different services that your typical traditional private school might not have. One of the things that makes us distinct is our small class sizes. So we won't go above 14 in kindergarten through 5th grade.
That's good.
In 6th grade, we'll go up to 16. And then our ratios in 7th through 12th actually average at 13 in a class. So that means, we might have a class of 9, we might have a class of 17, 20 is really big for us, and it would depend on the class. If it was maybe more of a debate or something where you want large groups, we might go that way. But the personalization of instruction is what we do. It's our teachers know our students really well. We know strengths, we know weaknesses, and that's by design. So that's kind of a distinctive. The second thing is that we customize every student's education. So when they come in, they're going to do a series of assessments with us, and we're going to find where their skill sets are versus just kind of their cookie cutter, well, you're in third grade, so this is your program. We have students who might be advanced in math, and we're going to place them with their skill set groups. And reading is the same. For an example of that is, this year we have a student who's exceptional in math. He's in 8th grade and he's already in Algebra 2. And the way that our classes roll can, accommodate for that. Conversely, if you have a student that really struggles, we can do that also. So we're also classical, and so that's just a method of education where we believe that every student learns in layers. And so we really focus on the knowledge layer and then helping them develop critical thinking skills in those middle school layers. And then the rhetoric layer of high school is really where a student will show mastery. So our high school classes are very presentation based. It might look like, hey, Johnny, you're on next week. This is your prompt, but this is where you have to get the class, but how you get them there is up to you. And a lot of, again, presentations, speeches, debates, different things like that really help us to assess what mastery are you showing. And so we teach that, in those layers in every class. So.
No, you sound very passionate about it. So that's awesome. And I went to a small college that had, the ratio was very small, and you did get to know your professors.
For sure.
I think that's important. So, I'm going to ask you a tough question here.
Okay.
What would you say for Eukarya is the vision that they want to portray or get to, and then what are some of the goals that you have for the school?
Okay. So I think our vision, our mission is really to disciple individuals and strengthen families. And so we know that families are the bedrock of communities. And so strong communities are made up of strong family systems. And so any way that we can support that. So if it's not involved in, strengthening a family, if it's not involved in, really nurturing a student, even though it might be a great idea, that's not really our mission. And so ways that we do that, again, to keep those goals, that mission in focus, and really to be intentional, again, about relationship building. Again, the teachers knowing the students well. One of the departments of the academy is called the Learning Center. And so we have a team of therapists actually at the school. We have speech, we have occupational therapy, counseling, dyslexia therapy, students that struggle with executive functioning skills. So these are students that, the type of kid where you can't give them 4 instructions in a row. We've lost them at 1. And you'd expect that maybe in a kindergartner or first grader. But as parts of our brain develop, we really should be able to move forward with being able to follow multi-step instructions. And so part of our therapies that we do are brain strengthening for those students that really have deficits in those areas. So those are some, examples of things that we do to help us get to those goals.
I'm just going to share a thought here for my opinion only. Homeschooling for me, I felt like has always been a challenge, for my kids, because, and from my experience, I used to coach high school soccer, and I used to have parents come up to me and say, hey, can you ask my kid to do this? Because our own kids have a tendency not to listen to their parents like they would, an educator. So, having a relationship or, with the teacher, I think is so important, but, having it a nice balance of being able to go in and maybe do some homeschooling because you want to have that family, time, and also have the opportunity to teach your kid, what you want them to learn, but then also flip it over because if maybe they're struggling in math, like you said, and they're just not listening to mom or dad, well, and they're having no problem listening, to someone at Eukarya. So I think it's good that you have, like a hybrid almost of the education because, some things can be easy and some things can be really hard. And having someone else, by your side there, I think is important. So I just wanted to share that, and I think that's pretty awesome that you guys are doing that. Okay, so you've had some pretty exciting news over the past year for the school, from the school's perspective. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Maybe what some of the challenges were? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I would assume the building.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's talk about that.
Okay. So one of our families brought us the news that the old Ayler building was going up for surplus. And so, we gathered our board, we prayed, we gathered the families, what do we want to do? And the decision pretty unanimously was let's go for it. And so we put in a letter of intent. The county opened up the process, to everybody. It was in the papers. Anybody had the ability to go in and walk the building. There were a couple of days that were public, kind of here are the days where people can walk through. We went, and it just had great potential. And so we knew, going in, it would need some stuff, but we were very interested. And so we did all the background investigation, the work, went down to, had a parent who went down and grabbed all the FOIA documents, everything that was, able to be researched. And then met with the Board of Supervisors on 2 different occasions where our families filled the room and just kind of pleaded with them of, can we have the opportunity to even pursue this? And the first meeting, they decided, yes, you guys can pursue this. And so then it was just a meeting in August where they had to decide, are you going to give this to us or they could have done a great many things. They could have waited.
Sure.
They could have said, we don't want it. Their decision, I think, was primarily financial, as well as just knowing that this empty building sitting here is not doing anybody any good. It was actually drawing in vandals and, just different things for the community. It wasn't a good thing. Yeah. So that evening in August, they decided that they would accept our bid. And then our work began.
Yeah, no, that's awesome because it's a school. It's designed to be a school, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to reuse it as a school, I think it's just awesome, and especially with how things are growing for not just the community but for your school.
Sure.
You feel like that's going to allow opportunity for you guys to continue to grow. It's going to fit what you have now, and then room for growth, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with an area where it's hard to find. Places that you probably would have had to do a lot of remodeling.
Sure.
To get it to where you want it, if you could even find the place.
Right.
Would be challenging. So, it was definitely God's will to have that happen for you guys. So it was definitely, congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
All right. So, I mentioned that I coached, and I know at a public school, and I know that there was always been a situation where, can a player that goes to a private school play in the public school, but do you guys offer any kind of sports programs, drama programs that someone can get involved with?
Sure. Yeah.
Through the school?
Great question. We do. We have athletics. Our formal athletics teams start at 5th grade.
Okay.
We are open to all homeschoolers. So I would say probably about 30% maybe of our teams often are made up of homeschoolers and then our own academy students. So that's exciting. We do. So those are just some kind of extracurriculars, I would say. We have, soccer, we have volleyball. We won our division in soccer a couple of years ago. We have basketball. We have had lacrosse in the past. We have had baseball. Some sports depend on how many students you have that wanted and the coach. Yeah.
Right.
Do we have a coach? Yeah. So as a dynamic school, which means, we're always growing and we're always moving, it's great. I love the build of something. We're only 14 years old. And so even to have somebody that comes in and says, hey, I'm a track coach. I would love to start one here. It's not we've always done it this way and this is how it always shall be, kind of place. If we see somebody with a gift, we're like, great, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, good. It sounds like you have something there that you can scale, right?
Right.
As you grow and, opportunities come up.
Something I'm curious about though, when the private schools and homeschoolers that are on sports teams, do they compete with the teams from the public schools, or do they compete with other private and homeschool
good question.
groups?
Right. So typically, it is other private school and other homeschool sports leagues. We are a part of a conference, and so so we will play teams in that conference, but we'll also play all local teams. We don't. Over COVID, I will say we did play some public school teams, and that was fun. But just because not many people were playing, and so there were, some of us that wanted the students to have a normal, experience, and so we would kind of call around and say, "Hey, would you be willing to?" So that was fun. And then we do go to Tennessee every year for nationals, and that's where we won our division in soccer a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
As far as drama, you asked about drama. We have a large performing arts focus at the school for a small school. I mean, we've been around for 14 years. We have about 250 students in the 5-day program. We have a very exceptional drama program. Over the years, we've done shows like The Wizard of Oz. We did Fiddler on the Roof. We this last year did just finished last weekend Les Mis. It was phenomenal, and so we had 4 shows. The lights, the sound, the costumes. It was absolutely amazing. And so as our drama program has grown over the years, people will come just for that, and that is. Again, for 7th through 12th graders, we have Wednesday only offerings. So students can come in, even from the homeschool world, and take classes like performing arts, drama. We have a STEM program. So those students are working on their computers. They're learning all kinds of programming, coding. We have a trades program where these students have built a tiny home from the ground up, working with experts. So they've done the electric, they've done the plumbing, everything. That
Can
project will be
sign
done.
up?
I know. Really. Well, it's almost like, what kind of school would you have wanted to be in?
Yeah,
That's what
that
we
sounds
ask
really
ourselves
cool.
consistently. So these kinds of programs are amazing. They're growing.
Well, I love the fact that it also keeps the young minds interested.
Yeah, for sure. And Wednesday is really a developmental day where we say to the students, how are you wired? Everybody was created for a purpose. And so what is that? What's your passion? Your passion is what you were made for typically. And so helping them find that. So we're not graduating students that are aimless and what do I want to be when I grow up? Really by the time they're in 7th grade, we're really intentionally identifying, are you trades minded? Are you agriculture? We have an agriculture concentration. So those kids go to a farm half an hour away. They're learning everything about bees. They're harvesting. They're bringing plants back. And we have a farmer's market on Wednesday afternoons where people come.
Nice.
So we have a business concentration where students are creating micro businesses, kind of like a Shark Tank. So these things are, again, those relationship pieces that are so important at the school.
I'm sold. I mean, I don't know about you, but you've definitely got my interest. I'll be going back and we'll be talking about Eukarya for sure. That's all great stuff. Now, one question I do have as you do continue to grow, I mean, teachers, I feel like have always been a challenge to acquire.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to scale, as you scale up?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Have you had problems with obtaining teachers? Because I feel like I've heard it in the news that's been a challenge.
Yeah. I think that our team is phenomenal. It's, and I can say that, of course. If I had to handpick
they're probably listening,
people.
So you gotta
Right. Just an amazing team, very community, family feel. What I will say is I think that growing into this building gave us some legitimacy in the community. And so the resumes that have been coming in since we've moved have
great.
been. So we're in interview hiring season right now, and I'm getting about 2 resumes a day.
All right. Well, keep them coming.
Yeah.
Everyone out there listening, send your resumes in. We need good teachers,
Absolutely.
Okay. So how about long-term goals? I know you've kind of gotten into a building where you've probably, satisfied that goal as far as future growth. I'd love to see you grow outside of that building, but, for now, let's fill that building. Any kind of future goals that you're okay talking about that you want,
Yeah,
for
sure.
Eukarya?
I think, on the near horizon would likely be potentially more daycare offerings. We are bringing a 3s and 4s class to the academy next year. So families that have, 3 or 4-year-olds can have one-stop shopping instead of having to go downtown and drop off their 4-year-old and
That's
then
what we were
bring
doing.
the others. Yeah. So that's one kind of already thing that's already in place.
Okay.
I think the homeschool offering is huge and will continue to grow. And the Marriage Institute would be our next focus for the Family Center. So having workshops, having community events for to strengthen relationships.
Okay, so that you're touching a little bit about some adult programs you have. I mean, you're talking about the marriage one. Are there others that you want to share that people know about?
Super.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah. So our Learning Center team, we do a seminar in the fall and a seminar in the spring, and that is open to the community.
Is that the marriage seminar?
So the Learning Center is our team of therapists. So we have counselors and people who are experts in education. This last just about a month and a half ago, we held a conference, a workshop, a Saturday all day that was open, for families. We taught things about parenting, parenting conferences, so parenting with love and logic. My husband and I taught about marriage. We did things about, education. So any educators from any school system could come, and somebody spoke about nutrition. So just very broad, anything that anybody might be interested in. So we do offer those a couple times a year.
Now, do you have folks there that could watch the kids while the adults are?
Yeah, good question.
That's kind of what we would need.
Sure. So we didn't this last time. We did discuss, do we have childcare? If it's a need, then absolutely. I mean, we have the space and to be honest, we have the students. We have high school students that are fantastic. So yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, this is a real estate podcast. We are real estate agents, and folks, move to areas. And one of the things we discussed earlier is that, schooling is one of the priorities of, why they buy, where they buy, location.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about a lot of cool things, but if you were to have like a real quick pitch of say, hey, there's a great school here in this location, what would be a kind of a rundown of what you would say, like, move here and use Real TFC as your real estate company and attend Eukarya.
Sure. I just, my husband and I, again, we're from Montgomery County. We moved out here about 24 years ago. Yeah. When we landed here, it was intentional. This is a great place to raise a family. It is amazing. The roots are great. The people are kind.
I would agree with
It's
that.
a great place to raise a family. I will say with the school choices that are out here, there are lots of good private schools, and so we're not the only option, which is great. So having choices in education is a beautiful thing. And so Virginia is the homeschooling capital of the world. So more homeschoolers per capita in Virginia than anywhere. So we're located very close to the Homeschool Legal Defense Association in Purcellville, which is a great homeschool resource. We have about, I don't want to even put a number to it because there are multiple private schools out here. A few that are larger, kind of our size, or that might be comparable. Again, what I tell families when they're in my office, this is a great place to live. When you're looking at schools, we're apples, oranges, and bananas. And apples, oranges, and bananas are all good fruit. You just have to know what you want and what you're looking for, because every private school out here skins the cat a very different way. And so we all, the private schools out in this region are very collaborative. I know all the heads of school, they know me. I'd say, we're kind to each other, and sometimes it'll say, hey, we're not a good fit. We get, those calls a lot. Hey, we're not a fit. We don't have the programs. Can you guys look at this file? So it's a great kind of cohort.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Now, I will say, if you don't believe her, you can come and you can schedule a tour and check it out for yourself. Is that right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some other ways that they could reach out and, get to know a little bit more about the program or the schooling? Is there a website?
Sure. Yeah. So eukaryaacademy.com. It's EUKARYA. eukaryaacademy.com.
If they Google Eureka, will it come up?
Right. No, we won't come up. Yeah. Okay. So absolutely check out our website. You can see everything on there, from the curriculum that we use to the schedule, all of it, our philosophies in education. And we also have social media. So Eukarya Academy on Instagram. We have a Facebook presence. And so check out our socials. That's where, honestly, you're going to learn about the play or workshops coming up or anything like that if you like us on the socials. And then our office, is open. We do tours. We have prospective family meetings. We'd love to get to know people.
Yeah, I think right on your website you can schedule tours right through there. And when do the tours normally happen? Is it during any time? Is it during the week, during the weekends?
Yeah, so we have scheduled prospective family meetings throughout the year. We've had 7. We
Okay.
actually had one last night. And so I would just say calling the office is the best way to get information
Yeah.
about when one of those is coming.
I was going to say, is the tour in the new building?
It is.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, that was all great information.
Yeah,
Michelle,
it
you have
was.
any further questions?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
that was really great information.
Joanie, thanks so much
Yeah,
for
thank
coming to the
you.
show. And I think, when everyone sees this, let's get it on your all the social media, and just keep telling people what Eukarya has to offer. So I think that's awesome. So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Real TFC podcast. The key to success is knowledge and relationships. So please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Real TFC podcast.